Hello everybody and welcome back to AYD Magic Tricks. In this video, we'll be looking at an advanced sleight-of-hand card trick that is Jack's Robber Bank. And this trick is very unique because it has a storyline to go along with it. And I can guarantee you that this trick will leave your spectators shocked after you perform it. So, right now I'll show you the performance for the trick and then we'll dive right into the tutorial. Okay guys, so this is the performance for Jack's Robber Bank. For this trick, we're going to have our 4 jacks be the robbers, and we're going to have the rest of this deck be a high security bank. Right now, I'm going to introduce you to our 4 jacks. So, we have jack number 1, jack number 2, jack number 3, and finally we have jack number 4. So, I'm just going to take the 4 jacks and I'm going to leave them aside because they're going to come up with a plan to rob this bank. Meanwhile, we're going to construct a bank with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cards. So, I'm just going to shuffle them up a bit first. There we go. So, since we have 12 cards, we're going to divide them into 4 piles of 3 cards. And each pile is going to represent a vault in this bank. So, let's do exactly that. So, we have our first vault, then we have our second vault, then we have our third vault, and finally we have our fourth vault. Meanwhile, the jacks have come up with a plan to rob this bank. The plan is that each jack is going to go into one vault in this bank and they're each going to take as much money as they can. We have our first jack who's going to go into this vault and take as much money. Then we have the second jack who's going to go into the second vault and do the same. We have a third jack who's going to go into this vault and take as much money as he can. And we have our last jack who's going to go into the fourth vault. Then the jacks scramble for as much money as they can until they realize that something fishy is going on. Just then the alarms go off in the bank and all the guards realize that there's been a robbery in the bank. They start opening up the vaults one by one to find where the robbers are. They weren't in the first vault, they weren't in the second vault either. They weren't in the third vault either. But unfortunately, the police caught them in the fourth vault. And now all the jacks went to jail. So, that was the performance for Jack's Robber Bank. And if you liked it, make sure to stick around for the tutorial. Okay guys, so this is the tutorial for the trick that I just performed. For this trick, you're going to have to take the 4 jacks aside and you want to arrange them in this order. So you want a red jack, then a black jack, and another red and black jack. Basically, you want to interlace them with the colors. You want to leave them aside and explain to the spectator that these jacks are going to be the robbers for this trick. And you want to explain to them that the rest of this deck, that consists of 12 cards, but you don't want to tell that to the spectator. You want to explain to them that this is going to be a high security bank. And when you do that, you want to fan out all the cards. And when you square it up, you want to hold a break underneath the first 3 cards. So in full speed, it looks like this. You want to take a fan and when you bring it back, you want to take a break underneath the first 3 cards, not showing it to the spectator. Then you want to take all the jacks and you want to tell your spectator that you're going to introduce them. And when you do that, you want to put them on top of your break and then lift everything from the break. So what you have is 4 jacks and 3 random cards underneath it. Then you pick that up and you hold an overhand grip and you want to take one of the jacks and you want to put them on the deck and then flip them around, introducing them one by one to your spectator. And you don't want to say the jack of clubs, the jack of diamonds, all of that, because you don't want to have your spectator remembering them, because you're just going to show 2 of them for pretty much the whole trick. So you just want to say jack number 1, jack number 2, jack number 3, and when you reach the 4th jack, you don't want to peel it off because you'll just show the random cards. So when you reach the 4th jack, you just want to place it on the top of the deck and then flip it around. So to cover up the random 3 cards. So now what you have is a jack, 3 random cards, and then 3 more jacks. Then you tell your spectator that you're going to leave the jacks to the side and they're going to come up with a plan to rob the bank. But when you do that, you just want to take actually 5 cards So you want to take one jack, 3 random cards and another jack and place them down, telling your spectator that they're just 4 random jacks. Then you want to take the rest of the deck and explain to your spectator that this is going to be the bank and you're going to construct it right now. And when you'll count whatever you have in your hand, there's actually going to be 11 cards. But there's a way to convince your spectator that there's 12 cards in your hand. You want to hold an overhand grip and count the cards one by one. So you go 1, and when you reach for the second card, you want to load the first card back into the deck. So you go 1, and then you load it back in the deck as you reach for the second card. And then you count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you count the top card twice, so you have 12. But then you end up with 1 jack on the top and 1 jack on the bottom. So the way to fix that is you want to do an overhand shuffle. But when you do that, you want to shuffle them one by one, taking the first and the last card together on the first move. Then you just shuffle it up normally. Now you've just controlled the jacks to the bottom of the deck. And there's only one way to bring it back up to the top. It's pretty slow, but it'll surely bring the jacks up. You just want to do an overhand shuffle, but you want to take the cards one by one. Okay, so you don't want to take 2 cards together. You just keep on taking 1 card each. And that will surely but slowly bring your cards back up to the top. After you do that, you want to tell your spectator that you're going to arrange these 12 cards, which are actually 11 cards, into 4 piles. And each pile is going to represent 1 vault in this bank. But when you take the first vault, you want to show your spectator as if you're taking 3 cards, but really you're just taking 2 because you have 11 cards. So you take 2 cards and keep them as the first vault, telling your spectator that it's actually 3 cards. And then you can randomly just show them the cards because they're really just going to be 3. So you have the first vault of 2 cards, second vault of 3 cards, then you have your third vault of 3 cards, and you have your last vault of 3 cards. Then you tell your spectator that the jacks have come up with a plan to rob the bank. Now, you don't want to reveal to your spectator that these are actually 5 cards, because they just think that they're just 4 jacks. Then you want to hold the cards in an overhand grip, and you want to tell your spectator that each jack is going to go into 1 vault of the bank and they're going to take as much money as they can and run away. So, you want to just slip 3 cards over, and you want to show the 4th card, which is actually a double pack, to your spectator as just 1 jack. Then you want to flip it over and you want to keep this card, which is a random card, into the first vault, telling your spectator that you've actually kept a jack in the vault. Then when you keep your second jack, instead of slipping out 3 cards, you just want to do 2, and then you show the second jack, which is also a double packet. Then you flip it over and tell your spectator that you've kept a jack, but actually it's a random card. The third time when you do it, you want to just slip over 1 card and show the spectator the third double pack. And actually what you're doing is you're showing the jack of spades twice, but you don't want your spectator to realize that. That's why you don't say jack of spades, jack of diamonds at the start of the trick. You just say jack number 1, 2, 3, etc. So the third time you do it, you show them the double pack, which is actually just a jack for the spectator. You flip it over and you put the third random card into the third vault. Then you show your spectator that this jack is just 1 card, but really it's a packet of 2 cards, and both of them are jacks. And when you place it in the 4th vault, you tell your spectator that you just placed 1 card, whereas it's actually 2 cards. Then you tell your spectator that the jacks are now scrambling for as much money as they can, and this is just a way to tell your spectator the storyline of the trick, because the jacks are already in this vault. Then, after they've all taken as much money as they can, you tell the spectator that suddenly the alarm goes off in the bank, and all the guards can tell that there's a robbery now. And they all go and open up the vaults one by one. And your spectator is going to be shocked when they see that the jacks are not in the first, second, and third vaults. But then you tell them that the guards actually caught them robbing the bank in the 4th vault. And now all the jacks went to jail. So that's the tutorial for the jacks rob a bank trick. And if you liked it, then make sure to like and subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. So that's it for this video guys, and thanks for watching.